Hi, welcome everybody, it's Mike Newton here and we're carrying on the launch of the new Callaway Mavrik range of woods, and it's the Max head we're going to take a little look at today. So 3 different heads. I've done 3 separate videos looking at each of those heads, so Sub-Zero, the standard Mavrik, and now the Max, which is going to look at in this particular video. A little bit of bigger footprint, we've got some movable weights, a little bit more draw bias as well for maybe for you left to right slicers out there. This could be a really good option for you to go and try. So we're going to test it, GC code on the floor as always, so we're going to provide you some numbers and obviously my personal feedback of the looks, the feel and the performance of this particular driver. Okay, so Max in our hands now. So what we're seeing here is a slightly bigger footprint as we put it down, so a little bit more stretched back. We know the standard Mavrik has a little bit of a different shaping of it, very much geared around that aerodynamics where the back edge sort of lifts up and away from the club. From the floor, should I say. This is a little bit more sitting lower there, a bit more of a sort of traditional driver sort of shape of the modern driver you should see anyway. So a little bit longer from that front to the back section. Definitely notice that as you put that down behind the golf ball. Much bigger footprint there that we sort of see against the other 2 models. Sits really nice and square. This is a 9 degree. I've got it set as a 9 degree, and for me it sits really quite nice and square, which is great. Lovely carbon effect again that we're seeing. Definitely a Callaway driver, and I've mentioned this in all my videos. You put it down, you just know it's a Callaway driver. It's that shape, that little bit of that carbon as we've seen in previous models. So I'm pleased they haven't changed that massively. Okay, they've changed a little bit what's happening underneath, but they haven't actually changed the shaping of the head, which I think is a good thing, because I think they make some really good looking drivers. So a bit of a story behind here is now Flash Face. It's a newer version. We saw that come in last year in the Epic Flash. So now we've got a different face for each of these 3 models. So all geared around the particular golfer that might be using this particular model. The face is then a little bit more consistent across in terms of ball speed, and it's basically how that's supercomputer sort of designs that club face. It's got ripples on the back section of it, so it's got thinner points, thicker points to help with obviously that ball speed across the entire club face. 2 movable weights. We've got a 14 gram and a 2 gram, and they are positioned at back section and then in the heel section. So at the moment I'm going to start it off with the 14 gram weight in that very back section, 2 gram in the heel. So this will play a little bit more neutral, not as draw biased here, and obviously with the weight being further back, and it's probably its most forgiving option as well. So we're going to start with that, and we'll get this first one hit. Wow, yeah, and that is a pretty high ball flight. Just worked up that left-hand side, a little bit of that draw on there. But that was a pretty high ball flight to start with, a bit higher than I thought I would expect to see. So club head speed 115, ball speed 161. And that only spun it to just over 2,100. Slightly higher than the club face strike, but not by much, but definitely a higher flight to sort of start off with. Yeah, I mean, that is high. Noticeably higher than what I would tend to see, especially a 9 degree driver sort of launch, and that was a little bit low in the face. I think that spin might just pop up a tiny bit on that particular shot. Yeah, just over 3,000 there. So noticeably difference of the spin there. Again, through my strike, we'll look at those strike patterns on the screen. Unfortunately, I've not got ball flight for you. Still got technical issues with my TV, so I just can't get a picture coming up on it. Unfortunately, I've tried everything, I just can't get it to work. So I've got numbers on my iPad and some screenshots on my iPad, so I'll show you those numbers. So unfortunately, I've not got ball flight for you. So we've still got the other aspects of the technology happening in this particular club. We've got adjustable neck sleeve, separate moving sleeves there, so we can change face angle and loft independently, which I think is a great advantage with the Callaway neck sleeve. We've got jailbreak technology in there, so those 2 bars sitting just behind the club face, stiffening that crown and the sole to put more energy back into that golf ball. That's sitting there as always. Obviously we've got the carbon crown, saving weight, repositioning it as we've seen in previous models as well. That was a good strike. Again, it's high. So definitely with that heavy 14 gram weight in that back section, and the shape of the head being much longer from front to back, pulling CG back is helping to increase that launch there, and obviously that spin as well, 3,000 there, and that particular spin, that felt a decent strike, 161 ball speed. Okay, so let's move that weight around a little bit now. Let's see, put that 14 gram weight in the heel section, 2 gram in the back section. Let's see if that opens up a little bit more, that draw biased. Okay, so switch that 14 gram weight into this heel section. So in theory, this should give us a lot more sort of draw by it. So by making that heel a lot heavier, it makes the toe lighter than the heel, so that potentially that toe of the club can close a little bit quicker. So typically for golf who would slice the golf ball, the face would generally be open. So this is trying to help you to close the club face and square it up to reduce that sort of side spin. Okay, so let's get this first one here. Good strike, again high ball flight, and that's definitely drawing up that left hand side there. That felt like a pretty decent swing for me there. 115 club head speed, 2,400 the spin, and 631 revolutions draw spin to the left there. So we'll take a little look when we look at the numbers just on the average of the draw spin against the with the weight in that centre section at the back. Again, good strike and drawing up that left-hand side, really high on that ball flight. I think with that long front to back section, that's definitely a good drive. For anybody who's struggling to launch the golf ball, maybe those slower club head speed golfers out there, this is really going to help. Obviously, loft adjustment is going to help massive as well, but I think the shape of the head and trying to get that ball launched, I think this is a really good option for you guys to go and try. A little bit lower in the club face, but again, that's drawing up the left. Three very identical shape of shots looking at those three shots I've hit there. That strike was a little bit low. It might just give up a little bit of ball speed. 160 foot, still pretty good there from where that felt like I struck it. Okay, just take one more in this draw setting, and then we'll go and check a few numbers out. That's a good strike. Fraction drawn there, a little bit straighter than the other three, but still just moving a fraction up that left-hand side. Okay, Mavrik Max, bigger footprint, definitely a higher ball flight we've seen there than previous sort of models. So the other two models that I've tried, the draw seems to be working a draw, seeing that shape, but let's look at some numbers in a little bit more detail. Okay, so look at this ball speed to start with there. We've got this, the weight in the back in that bottom section there where it just says Mavrik Max, and then where I've written draw there is when I obviously put that heavier weight in that heel section. So we can see a little bit more ball speed when it was in that draw setting. Strikes were pretty decent there, to be fair. Potentially you can start to sneak a little bit of that ball speed, because if that toe's moving in a little bit faster, maybe some strikes get slightly more toe side, you can sneak a little bit of speed out of that when it's in that draw sort of setting. Launching, very, very similar, 1 degree difference of the launch there. But again, looking at side spin, which was the important one there, so we can see on average, I know there's only 3 shots there, but 97 left spin, which is draw. So I had 1 draw in one off to the right, 1 very, very neutral there. And then moving into that draw setting, you can see the side spin there averaged at 442. So you see the first 3 shots got 600, 400, 500. The last one was a little bit straighter, but a fraction of draw. Definitely changing that side spin number there, which was quite good. Distance wise, very, very similar, 271 against 269. Looking at club data on club head speed, so 115.2, 114.8, so pretty identical, smidge quicker with that draw. Again, sometimes that toe working a little bit faster, you can just sneak a little bit of club head speed, but very, very similar in all honesty. Right guys, so there we go, there's the Mavrik Max, and for me, doing exactly what it says on the tin, you know, putting into that heavy weight in that draw section definitely gave me a little bit more draw there, as you'd sort of expect. So definitely a good option for a golfer who maybe struggles with that left to right, that sort of slice fade spin, want to try and reduce that a little bit more. Potentially a very good option to look at. Somebody who wants some maximum forgiveness, but also wants a little bit of that higher ball flight. Again, it seems to be ticking the box on that slightly higher on that flight that I got with that particular shot compared to the other 2 models. Again, my message to you guys, go and get fit. Please, please go and get fit. Don't be buying these through what I'm saying. Your delivery would be very different to mine probably, so you need to sort of go and test these yourselves. We've got different shaft options, you've got different neck settings, weight options, 3 different heads. Get on a launch monitor, measure your strike. That is the best way of you spending your money, and don't go buying it blind, please. Okay. Push comments down below and let me know your thoughts on the Mavrik range from Callaway. I think it's a good range, it looks great, they feel good, the sounds are really, really good on these particular drivers. So I'll be interested to see how these stack up against other brands for 2020, and loads more comparison videos will be coming your way testing exactly that. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.